The CDC director today delivered an impassioned warning against a rise in COVID cases and said it filled her with a sense of, quote, impending doom. We are seeing cases rise in many states. My question is, does the president plan out to reach directly to governors, including the Democratic governors of states like New York, New Jersey, and Michigan that are seeing real rises? Does he plan to ask them to slow down or pause them reopening their states?
Well, Jonathan, we are in very close touch with governors of those states and states across the country, not only through our weekly governor's call that is led by our COVID coordinator, but through calls and engagements that happen through the course of the week and through the course of every day. And the president has not held back in calling for governors, leaders, the American people to continue to abide by the public health guidelines, whether they are mask mandates on federal land and buildings or on interstate travel, whether it's encouraging people to hand wash and abide by social distancing. He will continue to do that through all of his engagements and, of course, through calls he has with local officials. But we are in very close touch with leaders across the country.
My follow-up to that is simply, this is probably the most precarious moment the country's had in terms of the virus since the president took office. That's according to the CDC director today. Will the president not take that additional step to get to talk to governors and ask them to slow down reopenings?
Well, Jonathan, the president uses every opportunity he can, whether it's publicly, through every interview, through nearly every public engagement he has. He has remarks later this afternoon, as you know, on COVID, providing an update on our effort to defeat the virus. He also does that through private engagements as well. But there are a range of officials at very high levels who are in touch with governors and leaders across the country who will continue to emphasize the need to abide by public health guidelines.
And one other topic. Earlier, Majority Leader Schumer is making the case that budget reconciliation can be used once more in the fiscal year of 2021. If the Senate parliamentarian agrees with his argument, this could be used a couple more times over the next year or so. Does the White House support that move, and what would it mean for the president's agenda?
Well, the White House and the president will leave the mechanics of bill passing to Leader Schumer and other leaders in Congress. Our focus is on proposing an agenda, an ambitious agenda, to invest in infrastructure, to help caregivers across the country, to ensure that we are doing more to help Americans get through this challenging period of time. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. On infrastructure, since the president is set to unveil his proposal in a couple of days now, what is his current thinking or his economic advisor's current thinking on how much of this package needs to be paid for with tax revenue?
Well, the president has a plan to fix the infrastructure of our country. We're currently 13th in the world. No one believes we should be there. And he has a plan to pay for it, which he will propose. But right now, once he proposes that, our focus is also on having that engagement and discussion with members of Congress. If they share a goal of building our infrastructure for the future but don't like the way he's going to propose to pay for it, we're happy to look at their proposals. If they don't want to pay for it, I guess they can propose that too. Maybe they don't support infrastructure spending. So the president has an ambitious goal. The most important thing is to figure out how to put forward the investments in our that are much needed in our infrastructure. What's irresponsible is not to address the urgent needs of that investment, but the means and mechanisms of paying for it. We look forward to presenting his plans, but also hearing proposals for others who may have a difference of view.
Is there a concern that if you don't pay for enough of it, that it'll have a drag on the economy, specifically by increasing the debt and deficit?
Well, again, he's going to have a plan to pay for it. I'm sure that if there are proposals out there that are differing from his in terms of what they will cover, we'll have that discussion. But he, of course, believes that investing in our infrastructure, continuing to create good-paying union jobs is front and center. But he also believes that we have an opportunity to rebalance, to address our tax code that is out of date, and some could pay more in our country that are not currently.